Hello friends, welcome back. The rankings have been released, and our alliance, thanks to our time in Tier 4, is only in Platinum 4, rank 107, so closer to the top than the bottom anyway. Today we're taking on 612 Guardians of the Galaxy, probably. Gonna go in again with the trusty trio. Let's get going. This war is a bit of a mess. Just gonna warn you at the outset. So, alright, we got a Darkhawk here. Now this is the expert map, so this is recovery and vigor instead of recovery and masochism. Now I considered both Void and Warlock in this matchup. Both had their advantages and disadvantages. You know, with Warlock you can get the heal block up faster, whereas Void is probably going to be doing more damage, but the heal block you have to wait until the petrifies are up. So I ended up going in with Warlock. It's only a rank 4 Darkhawk, which kind of influenced my decision. I can get the infection up within the first 15-20 seconds, as you saw, and then I really don't have to use specials because the damages, just the damage from my boosts and my basic attack is enough. So I have to be careful not to, I don't want a heavy attack, I don't want to knock him down, because then he goes into the auto block mode, and that's when Darkhawk really gets the most dangerous. So I'm really just going to rely on my basic attacks entirely. I'll hold my special 3 until the end, and I think I finish him off with my special 3. So Darkhawk's special attacks don't really do much damage if you block them. His beam attack on the special one has 4 hit components to it, and you can see that you can actually kind of let it push yourself back, similar to how you would dodge like Agent Venom's special one. That lets you dex the last part, and then you can get an encounter. I think if you block the entire special attack, you're not able to go in and counter, or if you try to, you'll get parried. So here he's just about dead, so we're going to finish him off with this cool looking special 3 animation. And the war got off to a good start. You'll notice I'm already up on section 2, so there was a thing and a void on my path, so we sent in my other alliance mate with an Elsa to take care of those guys, just to save us a couple deaths. So, and if you can believe it, we have our 4th out of 4 wars with a Captain Marvel on this node. This is recovery and buffet, but the buffet is tuned up quite a bit, so I think it's I think if you let her regen, it's like 45% health in buffet. So if you don't have a way to heal block her, and Void really doesn't work in this fight. If you've watched previous wars in which I tried to use Void here, as soon as she goes binary, Void is done. So Warlock works on this fight, on this node, regardless on if you're in the expert or the challenger map. It really kind of works the same way. You notice before I took a special 1. That was unfortunate. Usually I'm pretty good about dodging those. But once I get the infections up, and you can see we have 3 or 4 running up at the same time here, the power drain in particular is just incredible because of all the debuffs we're putting on her. So she's really not getting anywhere close to another special 1. And that is what we like to see in this matchup. So, and one more hit should do it, and there she goes. Alright. So here's where it kind of gets a bit off the rails. So this is a Nick Fury on buffet. Now, I really debated for a while whether I should go in with Warlock or Namor here. With Warlock, he's bleed immune, and he can get the heal block up to prevent buffet. But every hit is going to give Nick Fury tactical charge. With Nick Fury, it's a lower chance to get the tactical charges up, but you're going to start with 5 or 6 because he's marked as an Avenger, and you have no protection against buffet. So if you can't nuke him down with a mega special attack, you're not going to win the fight. So I opted to go in with Warlock. I was pretty much confident in my ability to, when he goes unblockable at, I think it's 14 tactical charges, you need to pull off an intercept and a combo or special intercept in order to take him above the threshold and give him a fury and reset the charges. So our tactic here is again to hold block after our combos to force him not to throw a special 1. One thing I didn't anticipate or didn't think about when I was going through this is that when he's healing, he's going to be power draining, of course. So that presents an issue when I'm trying to keep him or get him above 2 bars of power, because I don't want him to throw that special 1. So keeping him below 1 bar is no good, because then I have to do more intercepts than I wanted. But keeping him over 1 bar and below 2 bars is also not good, because that decreases the chances that he's going to be able to throw his special 2 and then eventually get me with an unblockable special 1. So there you go. I take a 3-hit combo when he's unblockable. I'm not sure why I didn't or couldn't dash back there. Still feeling pretty good about this fight. Just got to get him to the next phase. I've talked about before how it's possible to actually stop his LMD regen if you can refresh the infection debuffs midway through his regen. It actually stops. The timing is really difficult, and I don't think it's practical to attempt in most fights, especially since he's going to degen down to 30% anyway. All right, so now we're pulled off a nice little backdraft intercept. We reset his tactical charges. We're almost to the second phase of the fight here, and things are looking up. So just trying to wait out this portion. Fires off that special 2. Now we kind of have to go back in to take the hits. Push him over a bar. We reset another Fury. However, he goes unblockable here, and I take a special 1, and now we're kind of in big trouble here. And you'll see what's going to happen is my dashback input fails, and I just stand there, and he punches me once, and I die. So it's coming up here pretty quickly. Yeah, so I'm trying to... Yeah, there we go. So I was trying to pull off an intercept to get some additional hits in, and dashback failed, and first death of the season. Yep, so we're going to heal up Warlock, back up to full here, which was a bit painful because I was boosted up. And take that heavy attack. Again, my dashback doesn't work, and I take a heavy attack, so, more unnecessary damage, and just really unfortunate, so... This, he's below, he's in the second phase below 30%, and I still feel like I'm having a lot of time, or a difficult time trying to get him down. So 1S2 ends up doing it, but I take like 40, 45, 50% damage again. So tough fight. Maybe I'll try Namor next time. So. Alright, so this is a Claire on breakthrough counter tactics. Now our opponents are running the flow tactic. And I didn't realize at the time, I'm going to have to go back and check Aunt May, but I don't think that Claire is marked as a control defender in Aunt May, unless I was misreading it. So I was not expecting the power gain to be so wild. I think that the most of the tactics in tiers 1 through 3 now are massively overpowered, and they are not at all fun. So there we go. We're already backed up against the wall. I got super lucky in that my first 2 debuffs for Void are Petrify, so I've completely stopped the power gain. There is no way I would have been able to finish this fight if I hadn't gotten Petrify up early, because the power gain from the tactic is just too high. And there are very few champs in the game who don't crit and therefore can get around the power gain. You can also bring, of course, like a power locking champion like Magic or Darkhawk or somebody, but don't see many people in War bringing Darkhawk to attack. Anyways, from here it's pretty much a much simpler fight. You kind of have to bring a bleed immune when you fight Claire, otherwise the power gain is going to be even more intense. The bleeds that she's putting on you from her heavies and from her special 1 are intentionally designed to be pretty low. I mean, they're still out damaging my willpower. Plus, this person probably is running Despair. But, yeah, a bit of a crazy fight. I went in a little bit unprepared because I wasn't expecting her to have so much power gain. So, lesson learned. All right, so next up we have the Invisible Woman boss. So I got first shot. In the past, I've been able to one-shot Invisible Woman bosses. I still have my boost up from the previous fight. Okay, so we're going to put on a combat regen, even though I'll be healing up from willpower. I'm gonna warn you now. This is probably one of the most embarrassing fights I've ever committed to video on my channel, and I'm pretty transparent about putting my good fights out there as well as my bad fights. So you're gonna see all of the ugliness of it. All right, so we got her invisibility down initially. Now the problem here is that she's going to finish a combo into my block, but when I try and counter, she's going to parry me. Right there. So she did a double medium into my block twice and parried me both times. Now, when you try and do that to the AI, if you finish a combo into the AI's block, they will punish you. But somehow the AI is able to react faster than you, and so the rules are different for them. So there we go. So now I'm in completely dire straits here. I've done basically no damage, and Void is just about dead. I'm trying to come back. I figure if I can at least not take any more hits, the willpower from her vulnerability debuffs will heal me up just enough. But I think I screw up an SP1 dodge, and then that's what does me in. So we've got Fear the Void up. And what's really sad is, like, Invisible Woman's not really that hard of a fight. There we go. It's just that I made way too many mistakes, and so yeah. So yeah, somebody else finished the boss because I was almost out of items. So before we go to the results, I wanted to show two other fights. These are not my fights. So I have hyped up Elsa as a Void counter in a few videos now, and I had my alliance mate John send me his kill from this video, or from this war of Void, and you can see just how she completely melts this. This is a 565 Void max sig on long distance relationship. Special lock 1. So Elsa is so good for this because she will auto shrug off the debuffs, the non-damaging debuffs, every like 2 or 3 seconds. So, I mean, she essentially took no degen damage from Void and just annihilated him. So, the other fight I wanted to show, this is from my guy Codex. This is a Mr. Sinister. This was on the triple power gain, and Mr. Sinister is also a control champ. So if you bring somebody who crits against this node and this mini boss, his power gain, he'll be at an SP3 in like a hit or two. So he brought his Guillotine 2099, who doesn't crit. So all she has to deal with is the normal power gain. Guillotine is also good for Mr. Sinister in general because since she doesn't crit, she will never activate his regen. So it's pretty much a straight fight. He had built up his 100 combo in a previous fight by ending it with an SP3, and he turned on the power burn function. So you can see that with every medium, he's draining and burning a little bit of Mr. Sinister's power. So he did get tagged by the SP1 there, but didn't end up costing him the fight. This is a pretty tough fight. And I feel like this fight only has maybe 1-2 counters. Like if you don't have a guillotine, crossbones maybe would work here, but you're at class disadvantage, or like a magic, or a Darkhawk. So I said 2, but it's probably more like 3 or 4. There's probably more counters that I can think of. Maybe a Dormammu here. So yeah, this is a pretty sweet fight though. It's a tough matchup, but he got him down, no problem. So all right, this war, like I said, was a bit of a mess. One of our battle groups was unable to finish, which cost us the war. So about halfway through, our opponents started funneling because they were the death counts on both sides were pretty high. So they skipped a couple sections in our battle group and went straight for the boss. The other battle groups followed suit, but in one of our battle groups, they just didn't have enough time and items left to get to the boss. So yeah, so a third of the way through the season, sitting at 2-2. Not ideal. It doesn't feel like we'll make it out of Platinum 4 this season. We're going to drop back into Tier 4 to the Challenger map for the next war. And we'll see where we go from there. So, yeah, first 2 deaths of the season. Glad to kind of just get those out of the way. Those are pretty frustrating deaths for sure. But and an item-heavy war. But the first 3 have been, relatively item-free. So I can't really complain too much about that. So. All right, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, consider hitting that like button, subscribing, leave me a comment, let me know how your war went. How are you liking the new tactics? Because I think they're pretty awful, and they are decreasing my enjoyment of the mode. I think that Siphon. Well, I was worried about Crush, and I don't think Crush is OP like I thought it would be. However, I think Flow in certain matchups, and I think Siphon in certain matchups are way overpowered. So, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. See you next time.